It's News Up Extra. And guess what? We're talking about Christianity and nationhood. We have here with us Pastor Shola Adebayo. Pastor Shola Adebayo will be talking to us about Christianity and nationhood. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, just to set that right, is nation building, harnessing the virtues of religion.
Okay.
My little mix up there.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but Pastor Shola Adebayo,
Yes.
I know you are preparing for service at
Yes,
some point
yes.
later today, but this is a conversation we must have. We have seen, I need to start from, when it comes to politics and religion, people need to be very careful. For some reason, it has become so sensitive as it stands at the moment.
Very much.
But looking at the polity general,
Yeah.
when you're looking at the polity generally now, when you sit back as a clergy, what comes to mind?
Well, looking at the polity, what comes to mind, first of all, is the fact that a lot of Nigerians are unhappy. They are unhappy with what has transpired over the past 7 years or so, and you need feedback. You can't be angry at your people when they are not happy with you. The feedback system is not just those that represent at all levels. That's why you have the media, and I'm glad I'm here. People are not happy, and unhappiness is a sign that people are disgruntled. There is something that they are not achieving, or their expectations are not being met. And people have a right to talk about their expectations. So there's a lot of pain, so much pain, that is clear. But it's how you also now communicate your pain. It's how you can communicate your pain that will lead to all kinds of issues, So at the end of the day, you have legitimate right, to communicate the pain that you have, but the means and the channel through which you're going about it now makes it very wrong. That is where the problem now is with it, because people don't know the channels through which they should communicate the grievances they have. They are angry at maybe a government or a senator or a person that they voted in, and the person is not doing well. So they have to start trading insults. And if you look at us culturally, we're very good at throwing insults. I check every tribe. We can really decimate you. So transferring that to English language now, we can really say all kinds of vile things because we don't have the channel. So it's to find proper channels to communicate how we feel. And feeling bad about a thing is not bad, but communicating it is what matters. So what are my grievances? I expect that at this stage in my life, I should get a job. I'm giving an instance now. I'm done with school, or I'm even about to finish school. I'm in the university, and I'm not done after spending 5 years. I would be upset with that because I've had my plan. So when there is that conflict, the government now needs to play a role in placating people and making them feel calm about the issue, and look at the legitimacy of their grievances and the pain that they have. That is very key. We don't have a culture where we receive feedback also. That's the problem, because we see it as an attack. So if I am upset with what is going on, I am branded a political enemy already. But for the good of the nation and for the good of humanity in general, I am telling you what is going wrong so that you can fix it. That is how it's done. You look around and you look at all that is happening, and you listen to the people. Then you now begin to fix things. The issue of community policing that we know that is happening in some developed societies, they have that because they have policemen live within the community. So they know the possible criminals. They don't get feedback from second-hand or third-hand sources. They have direct access to the people they know. So when we have people talking to us about these things, you have the painful feedback. It can be painful, especially if you're a leader and you're thinking we're doing our best, and people are saying, no, your best is not even good enough. Then you will need to listen. You need to listen, you need to address the issues, you need to talk to the people, you need to send people to talk to them, you need somebody that is a communication strategist to explain what you are doing. We're taught in marketing that if you are not talking about what you're doing, it's like a man that is in the dark and is blinking. Only he as a person knows what he is doing, but others don't know what he's doing. So you can feel we're doing a lot, but are you communicating what you're doing? My Bible says your faith must be effectually communicated. So you can have faith and not communicate it properly. You can do that. So that's where Nigeria is now. People are not really happy, and it's the truth. We just came out of World Scarcity in Abuja, and you know how it was like. All of us experienced that. Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah. So talking about feedback mechanism,
yes,
it is noticed that when somebody fights back or when somebody makes a correction, we look at it from the sentiments of either religion, ethnicity. What's your take?
Well, the issue is we must understand that when it comes to governance and politics and politics, there's a fundamental thread that holds all of this together. Interests. We all have interests. I have mine, you have yours. That's why we are human. Human beings. Every human has a right to an interest. Now, my interest cannot supersede yours. When it begins to go above yours, then there's a problem. We must come to a place where all our interests are on a very level playing field, on very round table, on the same field. You know what I'm talking about now? So your interest is not higher than mine. Now, there could be cases where a particular sector of the economy or of our nation needs attention. So we'll have to move our attention to that and really deal with it, and deal with it seriously, because that particular part of the country needs our attention. But we cannot allow sentiments now. So interests lead to sentiments. Sentiments now make us very angry with ourselves, because anything I say you will misinterpret. Now this is common. See, a lot of people look at it like, Nigeria, what this? In the early church, my pastor, I have to use an example, Acts chapter 6, the church was growing. As the church was growing, people began to join the church, and interest began to show. And the interest began to manifest itself in the serving of food. That issue started in the church because some people were being served. They had the Greek Jews that spoke Greek, and they had the native Jews. So the native Jews were preferred over the Greek. This is over food. So what did the apostles do? They said, look amongst yourself, look for 7 men that will distribute food. So the interest is that everybody had to be fed. But some people had their preference. And it happens in parties. You go to parties, and I don't know if this happened to you before. There are these jokes that comedians give, like you go to a party, they serve food, they don't give you, then when it's your turn, they give you toothpick first. It has happened to me. It's not a joke, it has happened to me. So that's what is happening in Nigeria. People are being served toothpicks without them eating. So the apostles had to put people in place to manage interests. They told them, get 7 people full of wisdom, full of the Spirit. This is not for technical issues. I mean, the studio is not for joining cables or broadcast. No, it is for serving food, as small and as simple as it is, as it looks. For that simple reason, they had to get 7 men that were honorable. Because once interests come into play, when we meet at a particular place and our interests agree, we will form alliances. And by the time we form alliances, we will always want our own interest to come first. So you will need men that would manage the varying interests that people have. I'm from a family of 4 children. I'm the only son. 3 sisters. I have seen interests at work. But we're from the same womb, from the same parents. But you see interest working strongly, yes. So as the eldest son, as the first son, had to now play the role of managing interests. That's what has to happen. So as church, as Christians, we can't throw that away. The church and Christianity has a social mien too, where we must understand that people will always want to have some things for themselves. They will need to have people that are smart enough to play the role of managing your interest. So you want this to be established in your own part of the country. It is not a bad thing. It is called nearness to that particular commodity. We taught in economics. Yes, so you want that thing to be close to you. Then you manage the interest. So what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So it's the management of interest. It happens. Jesus had 12 disciples. One day, the mother of 2 of them called Jesus to the side and said, I want my sons to sit at your left and at your right. He had 12 disciples, and the mother came with her interest. Jesus did not get upset. He didn't say, woman, thou art loosed. No, he said, he looked at her, he said, this thing you're asking for is a very tough thing. So I don't have a right to even give that. It's not even up to me. She said, can your sons drink of the cup that I would drink? Say, they can drink it, they can drink it. She was thinking of a usual, typical government, but his government was not just a natural one. So he fed 5,000 people, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. The next thing they were like, this guy should be king. Because their interest as regards food, as regards hunger, was satisfied by this guy.
Sorry, I may have to. You've said so much about interest. That word, I would lash onto that word.
Yes.
You know, at this point, I'm beginning to wonder. You know, it has been said over a period of time that religion is the opium of the masses.
Yes.
Yeah. Having said that, and it has been regurgitated several times.
Yes.
Yeah, but you see a situation where during the political season as we have now, you see presidential candidates either taking pictures in the mosque or taking pictures in churches or videos and all of that. When you see all of this, and at the end of the day, you come back, because we've had experiences, and that sort of followership or that sort of impression does not translate to what is governance, and we see people who are unhappy, like you say. So what should Nigerians be paying attention to right now, or what should the religious, the clergy? Now when I say this, I'm talking about even Christianity and Islam. What role should they be playing at this point in time?
I like this question. I like it so much, because you're giving me an opportunity to speak truth to our people. I hope a lot of people see this. There are universal laws that God has set in every heart on the face of the earth. That's why stealing here is stealing everywhere, except you want to bring interest and sentiments in. First of all, look at that universal law. Adultery, what I call universal laws, good laws, that is in every nation. That corruption here is corruption everywhere. If you want to start tainting it, then you have a problem. So in a nation like China, where they don't even have Christianity at the center, they deal with corruption. Because it is human to be corrupt. I know we don't accept that. Everybody wants to speak about their good, but we have the tendency. So you mentioned people going around taking pictures and all of that. We must understand that organized religion is a different ball game from our pursuit of God. That till today, till tomorrow, till we all leave this earth, religion will always be used. Because people have to believe in something bigger than them.
After all, the Trump too took pictures.
Thank you very much. People will do that. So people believe in something bigger than them. Then politicians will latch on this for their interest. Now there are possibilities that a genuine picture can be taken. The man is a Christian, for instance, so he has the right to hang out with Christians. You know, he's a Muslim. He has been praying all this while, 5 times a day. So, but if the political party now or whatever group wants to use it as cannon fodder, as a means to just fuel the political ambition of the party, is a different thing entirely. What the problem is now is that we want to just win elections. It's like when we were in primary school and we ran races. I came first, you came second. Or we did tests, I got the highest score. It's about winning elections, not about development. That is where the issue now is for me. My Bible tells me, Micah was writing to the children of Israel. He said, there's one thing, Micah 6:8, that God requires of you, O man, to do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with your God. You see these laws, to do justly, justice, to love mercy, to be compassionate, to walk humbly with your God, not to have any over-bloated perception of yourself. You see these 3 things, if anybody holds to this, it will work anywhere in the world. To do justly. God is a God of justice. So you can be a Christian and practice injustice. You can be a Muslim and be very unjust. Because justice everywhere is sin. When justice is being meted out, people can see, they can tell. We have this divine universal laws inside of us. You can tell that this thing was. You might keep quiet because you have your interest now. But inside of you, you know that this, this, it wasn't fair. It wasn't just. So justice is clear. God expects everyone to do justly. Then to love mercy, to be compassionate, and to walk humbly with your God. People can use religion to carry out unjust acts and can still take the laws.
Is that happening in Nigeria?
It happens.
All right, okay, so that takes me to the Muslim ticket.
Okay.
It has elicited a lot of reactions. What is your take on it?
You see, when it comes to voting and elections, there is the good for the land. People will be upset about all kinds of things. Muslim ticket, you have a Christian ticket, you have a Christian. People will have all of that. But I've mentioned 3 things for you. Will this man do justly? Will he love mercy? And will he walk humbly with his God? Now, what informed the choice of a Muslim ticket for a party is because of their own interests. I won't dabble into that. So you probably want to win an election or want to satisfy a particular group of people. What your reasons are is left to you. And it's possible because you also want to win an election. Now, in winning elections, what is the reason behind it? If the goal is I want to come first and we won, then we can begin to taunt ourselves on social media. I told you we're going to win. That defeats to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. That's where it is. So I look at a person, we know the candidates that have been picked. We all know them. So the Muslim ticket here, you know, and it's all over social media. You can see that. So I have to sit down as a person and look at it and say, what will be justice for Nigeria? What will be mercy? What will be walking humbly with God? What will do the average person, the person that has no voice, good? That is what we look at. So I, as somebody that's going to vote, will look at that thoroughly. But we've not been taught on how to choose. So if you look at it so far, everybody that has come up to become a candidate has somewhat been thrust on us. It's not because of, it's not who you prefer. Yeah, look at it. So we will have to always teach our people the ability to make choices. That between 2 bad options, choose none.
Okay. So what do we settle?
Yes, between 2 bad options, choose none.
So
you see,
do we settle for?
I'm driving at that. That's where the issue, because we feel that if there are 2 bad options, you should choose one.
Yeah.
No, you choose none. You will always have an option. So I have you shout about the Muslim ticket. I have you shout about somebody going to church. You have an option. We cannot cry and make a noise and make sense if we don't have options. You do. You will always have one. No matter how constrained you feel you are, you have an option. There was a plane crash that happened, I think, many years ago. I read the story. I think it's in the 70s in the US. I can't remember all the details now, but I think it crashed and the people were there for, some people survived, some people died. After staying there for a while, the people began to eat the corpses of the people that died, the people that survived. They felt that was the only option they had, but that was not the only option they had. They became cannibals. There will always be a better option. So you're shouting, why are you shouting? Muslim ticket. They seem to have the paraphernalia of government. They seem to have all of these things. Have you considered that you have the tool also to gather people to also vote in the direction that you want? And you have this kind of space to come and air your views. If you feel you're not represented well, you go talking about it. So there are options. We are not without one. So between 2 bad options, choose none. Choose, look critically. Poverty has done a lot to us. That's limited our thinking as to our capacity to choose. So we think that, no, it has to be this or that. There's always a third one.
But to be more specific right
yes.
now, even as we prepare to end the conversation.
Wow.
What are, you are clergy.
Yes.
And we're going to see all sorts.
Yes.
The campaigns have not started yet.
Oh my.
We're going to see all sorts.
Yes.
But beyond the people now, we have the people and then we have the clergy.
Yes.
And we know for a fact that there are definitely a group of clergymen in Nigeria who hold a great deal of influence over their followers.
Thank you.
What should be the relationship now, as far as the polity is concerned?
Yes.
Even as we go into the campaigns by September, as a run-up to the elections.
As a pastor, your responsibility is not to incite people. Whether you're a pastor or an imam, that's not your goal. Your goal is not to fan to flame the embers of animosity and violence. At all. We must get that. And your pulpit is not a place for campaigning. Whatever platform you have that God has given to you is to speak truth to power and to make things plain to the people for them to see. If you taught people properly on how to make informed choices based on proper indices, they can tell, indices of development, you can go to sleep because people will always make the right choice. So your responsibility, people coming to the church, they are known in society, or they come to, you could recognize them if there's an opportunity for that, to recognize, oh, this person is here, we recognize your presence. You're giving honor to whom it is due. But we must be smart also as clergy. When we understand that people are trying to use our platforms as a means to galvanize and to get, you must be sensitive to God and to what it will look like at the end of the day. Because it's not about an election. It is more than an election. So this election will go. Yes, 2011, 2015, it will come and it will go. Your responsibility is to look at the fact that after an election, I will still have these people as members of the church. And the truth is that members of your church will have different interests and will belong to different political parties. So you can't come up on the pulpit and begin to sound partisan. You are beginning to muddle the waters. You're making a mess of things. But there is a plain path which you can talk about. Do we have justice on our streets? Are people being treated fairly? You, for yourself, look. You have God inside of you. You can tell where to place your vote. Now, if the person feels that this particular candidate would be my choice and tells me his reasons as a pastor, you have your reasons. You have a right to do that. Go ahead and exercise it. But there are consequences for your choices. So if you go vote for a particular person, I will now begin to suffer. I'll tell you, can you see the consequence of your choice now? So as a pastor, I will teach people the concept of consequence. We don't see that also. Yeah. So this person gets into office and is in office for this particular time, this particular period. What is the consequence? What are we going to look? What are we going to benefit? What will be our harvest? What are we going to derive from it? If at the end of the day it's your own pocket you're concerned about, then there's a problem. Then you are selfish.
Insightful.
Then you are very selfish. I don't know if we have some few seconds left. We must be careful as pastors not to preach selfishness from the pulpit. Yeah, not to preach it from the pulpit. Your selfishness or your preference can cause people to make wrong decisions, and because they feel you are closer to God than them, they will begin to doubt God.
Thank you very much. That was insightful. So the take-home is your pulpit is not for campaign or advert.
It's not for
any sort.
Any sort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you must be smart. Don't allow people to come in there and politicians are very smart.
Very, very smart indeed.
Very smart. Very smart.
We're going to see interesting times ahead.
Yeah.
Interesting times.
I like this. I like this. Thank you so much for
it's a
Hopefully
pleasure.
you'll come on board.
I love this.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Pastor Shola Adebayo, for coming on the program today. Nation building, harnessing the virtues of religion is what we have looked at. Perhaps maybe not as in-depth as one would have expected, but I know there'll be several opportunities for us to have conversations even as we move into the political season and beyond as well. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, I'll be here with Atinuke. I'll be joined by one of our senior colleagues to talk about a very critical issue as well. Stick around.